Yo, what's up, Canna family? It's Vodka with the Stoned Age podcast. It's been a while, so we hope everybody's doing well. Happy New Year to the 2023. Can't believe we're already here. We're already at the end of the month. One month gone already in 23. I can't even believe it. So I'm going to give a shout out to my sponsor, Sticky Saguaro, out in Chandler, Riggs and McQueen. So if you've never been to Sticky Saguaro, they're family-owned, family-operated, so definitely support that. They're one of the few here in Arizona. And, you know, we need to support small businesses like that. You know, I'm a small business here, a little shop of hydros and Dyna Pure CBD. Come through, you know, we can help you out with any kind of indoor and outdoor gardening. If you want to grow your own cannabis, we're your spot. We have anything you need from lighting, nutrients, soil, and the list goes on and on and on. And if you're looking for wellness, we have all of our CBD products from Dyna Pure. So 95% of our line is USDA certified organic. Can't get any better than that. And we have our topicals, tinctures, we have soft gels, we have pet products, we got it all. So definitely check us out, dynapurecbd.com. And, you know, today we're going to be talking about an important subject that's always out there, and we haven't heard any word for a while, what's happening with social equity. So we want to know, you know, we want to put our voices out there and say, hey, you know, social equity, you know, these licenses were put out a while back, and where are they at? What's the process? What's happening with these licenses? When are they going to be out open? When are these people going to be able to benefit from this social equity program that is supposed to be for the community, but doesn't seem to be? And that's what we're bringing on Nydia, our friend Nydia over here from our Arizona. We've talked about these subjects before, and we need to continue these talks because we're at a standstill. We're not hearing anything, right, Nydia?
Yeah, well, hello. It's been a long time. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's good to have you back on.
Thank you. I do love, before we start talking about important things, right, this shop is gorgeous. I don't know if you guys grow, but I've been in the CBD/cannabis game a long time. So I've seen a lot of the side of cannabidiol before it got popular, right? And the shop is really unique. You guys have a lineup of a lot of tinctures, oils. Like, I mean, it's really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, we got a lot of SKUs, you know.
Yeah, and these are your products right here, right?
Strong, yeah. So, I mean, we have our Calm, our Clarity, our Rejuvenate, you know, and we have a full line of everything CBD
and
products.
It's all organic and testing.
You know, and like I was telling you, our newest product that we brought on the line is our USDA certified massage oil.
Yeah, I was looking at this, actually, this big bottle, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, you're not going to see that very often. You know, if you're, you know, a person that cares about being all organic, I mean, and a massage oil, I mean, you can use that in all sorts of different ways. You can put your mind to it. Massage oil, you know, get it in the room, the bedroom, all that kind of stuff as well. It's certified organic, and it's not, you know, you can rest
Well, it's only
it's
MCT oil and hemp extract together.
That's right. There's not any other ingredients.
Which
and plus,
awesome.
You know, all of our products have QR codes on it as well. You can go right to it. There's no difference between our products. Besides the THC, you know, we're just CBD, but from where you go to the dispensary, we have the QR code, go to our testing results, check that our products are pesticide-free and good levels of CBD, and it's good medicine.
Yeah. Yeah, I worked as a CBD consultant for many years, and the one thing I could tell you about CBD, it's not all made equally. I'll tell you that. So you're sourcing from farm to table, how you're making it, how it's, you know.
The quality of the hemp being
the
grown.
Extraction method.
There you go.
You know, a lot of people use heat, and heat degrades a lot of the cannabinoids in there. So whenever you see a USDA organic, that's a really, it's hard to get on a product is pretty much what I'm trying to say. So when you see it, respect it. And a lot of I don't know, I haven't seen a lot of really single off CBD items at dispensaries. I've seen a lot of 1-to-1 ratios, which is good. You know, if people need to get that, awesome. But if you're looking for full spectrum, high quality grade, this is pretty great. And the shop's really nice, man. Did you tell people about classes?
No,
like community classes?
So, yeah, that's one thing I'm glad you highlighted. You know, we specialize in classes here at a little shop of hydros and Dyna Pure CBD. We have a learning center inside both of our stores.
That's what I got excited about.
You know, that's one thing we really had to bring back to the community. You know, I grew up right here where my store is at. You know, I went to high school in the neighborhood. I still live in the neighborhood. So I want to contribute back and make a huge impact, you know. And it's not all about, you know, just making money. We want to really do something for our community here.
Yeah, well, I mean, I lived here years ago. So this is Sunny Slope.
Yes, this is Sunny Slope.
So if y'all know where Sunny Slope is, it's an awesome, like, hidden little cove in the center of the city up north.
I mean, we got our problems, you know what I mean? A lot of people know about Sunny Slope from different ways, but it can be a beautiful place as well.
Yeah.
And about bringing that up is about contributing back to the community and trying to make it better, right? I was just telling you about our community garden at Mountain View Park.
Yeah.
If anybody's ever been to Mountain View Park and seen the community garden there, I helped with that. I designed it with the city, and
you were telling me about it though. I lived here for a long time, and I had no idea about it.
Oh man, you got to go by there. It's the most beautiful community garden, and it's literally taking the park back and giving it back to the community. Before it was just gangs, drugs, and homeless, and they locked the bathrooms, so families would take their kids and they couldn't go to the bathroom, so there was no way to go.
What year was that? Back in what? Because I lived in this neighborhood back in 2009
through
2011,
12 to 2014
maybe.
area, right in that area.
Yeah, it was definitely a different vibe to the neighborhood during that time. But coming back and looking at all the growth, Scramble, I remember when it came into the neighborhood. Oh my God, we were super excited. Right? Everybody was just like, "Oh my gosh, there's a B&B breakfast place that we can hit up."
You're talking about it's a close-knit neighborhood here, and we do have a dispensary about to go in. It's being built right now. It's Nature's Medicines.
Oh, no way.
Right down the street on 7th Street in Dunlap.
Is it by the Jack in the Box?
There was a Jack in the Box in the corner there. Now
I remember that Jack in the Box.
Now, and then right across the street from there. Yeah, it's going to be right across the street. So it's going to be our first in the neighborhood.
Wow.
There was some business owners that have a coalition in the neighborhood that didn't want it to be here. Obviously, a lot of people kick back on or hate against cannabis, right? Yeah. But it's good for the community. It's going to bring in some money. Hopefully, they put some of that money back into the community.
Sure.
So that's what we want to see dispensaries doing, right? And they make a lot of money, most of them. If they were growing some good weed, I can't say all of them, but
oh my God!
And then they got to put that back into the community and back into their workforce, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, being a bud tender or a grower, you can only get so much kickbacks in product all the time. Just pay me a livable wage.
Not every, it would be, dumb to think that every employee uses cannabis, because there was a lot of people while I'm in the industry that did not ever smoke cannabis. I was like, really? What are you doing in this industry? But it was kind of, it's just a job to them.
Well, yeah.
I mean, if they're not getting that benefit, it's not fair, right? You know what I mean? If they don't use cannabis and then other people are getting kickbacks with some, products and things like that, I don't know.
Yeah, that's how we got. That was our bonus incentive. Was hey, every month you're going to get, you can get a gram of concentrate, and we're going to give you, or you can pick an eighth.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay. I mean, that's great, because product knowledge, as a bud tender or whatever it is that you had to do, you have to know your product, but you have to be able to, give back. And I think it goes back into a social responsibility, right? So it's not just business and cannabis. It's all of it in one.
Yeah.
How are you giving back to that community? Are you paying livable wages? Are you offering good benefits? How are you really integrating your business to uplift those around you? Because that was the whole goal. And if we're going to talk about, cannabis specifically and social equity, that was the main goal, was to provide opportunity to those who were impacted the most. Well, it's sad to say, out of those 23 licenses, or 26 licenses, 23 of them are associated with some type of big cannabis existing operation.
So you're telling me only 3 of those 26 licenses went to an average person?
Yeah, that's what the data is showing.
And that, social equity is supposed to be, all 26 of those are supposed to be back to somebody that is, truly suffered, and to where corporate can't really touch those, right?
Right. At least that's the way it was supposed to be made by design. But again, we've been singing this song and dance for a long time, and we go back to okay.
And we already knew what was going to happen. We've had this discussion before social equity happened. We talked about how corrupt it was going to be, and then it turned out to be that way. I mean, it literally was. We could have written it out like a play. And it would have followed out the same way.
Well, you've been here a long time in this industry. I've been here a long time in this industry. And actually, not just this one, multiple places, So for me, I've always been about, I'm not here to point out the problem, but I'm solutions oriented. I'm going to call out weaknesses or broken windows. Yeah. And we've been saying, hey, this is a copy and paste from Cali to Illinois New York right now is probably the only promising social equity program that I'm really excited about. There's a lot of help. There's a lot of their taxes are being appropriated. So the money that's coming from it, it's just going to grow back and go back into the communities and really integrate itself. Because like here, I have to ask the question, so 23 licenses are out. What opportunities has that created for the communities? The communities impacted the most. You know, there's still a lot of people struggling who in the cannabis industry, I don't know about you, man, but I had to have 3 jobs at one time when I was working.
You know, it got so bad for me that I got out of the cannabis industry. I'm still in it in a way with my stores here, with my hydroponic stores, you know, helping people grow their own cannabis and supplying some of the cultivations and things like that. But for me, I had to get out because it wasn't worth what I was doing. You know, I made these companies tons of money, put a lot of my time into it to make them successful, and then ended up getting nothing and screwed over in a way. I mean, I can't say nothing, you know, but
well, your skills are valuable no matter where you go.
Taken advantage of, where a lot of people out there are getting taken advantage of, and I think that's where, you know, the smaller guys that have been in this, you know, even coming from the black market like myself, that have put in a lot of, you know, risk and blood, sweat, and tears to get to where we are today, and then for these corporate entities and guys to come in with money to be able to just steal it out, pull the rug from underneath us, you know what I mean, and steal it from the whole industry. Basically, it's been hijacked, in my opinion. You know, we've been hijacked, you know, from what it should have been. You know, the culture is not the same anymore. You know, cannabis is not what it was 10 years ago. In my opinion, it's not what it should be right now.
I just think it's such an oxymoron, right? Like, you look back at what's happened in just history, it's such an oxymoron. Like what happened with opiates and the Asian population, then what ended up happening with weed and the African, when we're looking at like the black communities, we're looking at like the Latino communities, we're looking at the indigenous communities who were hit the hardest during that time when marijuana was the worst thing you can have. Right. So it's really interesting to see that there's an industry now that is literally creating more barriers and making it more difficult. So at what point can you operate? So you have an industry that's just copying. If you think about it, it's copying booze. And now you're having a micro industry, nano industry, and large production. And if you want to operate and be successful in this industry, you have to have a tight-knit running operation of people who are highly skilled.
Yeah. So who, in your opinion, who is the Budweiser and the Bud Light of the cannabis industry then? Because those are the big dogs in the booze industry, like you said. I mean, Bud Light, Budweiser.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's that corporate, you know, big entity, you know, washed down, basically. You know, that's not that niche, you know, specialty thing, but they're the most popular, right? So who in your opinion is that across the nation?
I mean, I'm only saying this because of one, how they've scaled, and they've done it in a very impressive way. I will give them credit to that. And one, their appetite for growth and how they've partnered with some communities of color. I'll say Curaleaf, and I'll say that because if you look at how large they grew over the last, 5 to 7, 8 years, it's been exponential. Their license acquisitions that they've gone across from the country, from the Massachusetts market out west. So they're huge in Arizona. You can't deny that.
I mean, they're huge, you know,
and they do
across
a lot
the nation,
of work.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, but, you know, we get into that. You know, we're talking about a company that's owned by Russians. You know what I mean? There's Russians, you know, Russian oligarchs that own Curaleaf. You know what I mean? And that, you know, we can get a whole another discussion on that.
Well, yeah, like if you want to think about it, you know, the guy Wrigley Gum is in the cannabis game too. So the Wrigleys are in, like, you know, the cannabis game is there for anyone. That's what I envision it to be. But when you have an industry that's made it with barriers and very difficult for you to even operate, it's like, okay, what do you do now?
Well, see, where I think it's, you know, what we have to be careful with is, you know, like that Curaleaf, what you said, those Curaleaf companies like that, you know, they come in with all this money and all this power, and then that's where they drive the industry. And that's where the culture dies as well, because somebody that has that much control can make it what they want. You know what I mean? And they can kind of put the vision out of what they want cannabis to be seen as, which, you know, long-time growers like myself and people that have been using cannabis for a long time, that's not what they associate with.
No, cannabis is an oxymoron with corporate. Absolutely. That's why you're seeing, you know, a very big rift in how people are appealing these stores. Like, not everyone is going to be your soccer mom shopping for edibles and I want to get a little eighth on the weekend or maybe every 2 months, you know. And you're now seeing these companies where they're growing massive amounts of cannabis. The appetite is there. The people that are coming in through your stores are, hey, I'll try this and I'll buy this one time and I'll see what it's about. So certain brands and certain companies are coming in and you're having customers that are not loyal. And that's what a lot of these companies are struggling with because, to your point, they're not growing with quality. They're not growing with care. Something on a much micro level, right? Like with beer, I love beer. And I'm a big beer person.
Me too.
So I care about the Independent 100 label. I care about, you know, livable wages for those brewery. Like, I don't mind paying a higher quality if I know my products are going to be, or my money's going back to the product to take care of those employees, right?
That's right.
So like with cannabis, that's the struggle, is you're coming in, you're everywhere, you're trying to become this, you're trying to become this staple product, right? But the problem is your consistency and quality everywhere you go, because cannabis isn't like beer. Yeah. It's not like fruit. I guess to compare it, it's like it's a very interesting product that is going to be unique to where it's grown. And this industry, the way that it's going, I'm not trying to give out all my tidbits here, but there's a very unique way that cannabis is going to move. And if you want to survive, you need to have a good team of people who understand what the product is and how to get that person to come back for your weed, not just one more time, but just say, oh my God, damn, Vaca, like this weed, I can smell myrcene. Awesome. I can smell beta-ferroxylene in it. Awesome. You know what? I can see it's not powder. I can see it. I can touch it. All right, great. It smells wonderful. Clean ash. You don't get headaches. You don't get sick. But you actually can smell the terpene flavor in it. And you're not just seeing highly condensed, highly grown weed with PGRs up in there. Yeah. And that's what's going to make me come back for it, because I may be a rec person shopping, but I want to be able to tell the quality that it's still there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, lots of people are just shopping for the deal, and that's where that repeat, you know, you're looking for that repeat person to come in for the quality, right? Because there's a lot of customers out there that are just searching for that best deal. So every day they're searching for a different deal at a different place and a different product. So that loyalty is kind of out the door when you're looking for those people that are trying to get a deal. You know, but quality is, you know, for the connoisseur cannabis user, quality is key. And if they find that quality, they're going to keep coming back. Why would they go somewhere else? It goes back to that old school model of the black market days when you had your dealer and you got some bomb-ass shit. You kept coming back, because why would you go anywhere else?
Yeah.
You're getting fire-ass weed every single time you go here. Why would you need to go anywhere else? There's no need for that.
Right.
So,
but it's also a real test to the relationship that cannabis has now with the current community and its customers. There isn't a relationship,
and it's different.
And I ain't loyal to anybody.
It's different in different states. You know what I mean? Because as we're talking about this, like for us and our consumers out here, we can't consider the same kind of model for California. Let's just say next to us, our neighboring state. You know, we're in Arizona, California. They grew up. You know, that's where good bud came from most of the time back in the day. Here in Arizona, what did most people smoke?
Stuff that came across.
Dirt weed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Reggie from Mexico.
We have probably 1 million people or more that grew up smoking dirt weed. You know what I mean? So they don't even give a fuck what the quality is. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, this is better than what I used to get. You know what I mean? So they're just buying whatever the cheap $100, $80 ounce that they can get. You know what I mean? And that's where, you know, I see and I hear in the industry that we're struggling here in Arizona with prices and the throat slashing. You know what I mean? That's what's happening right now because there's groups out here that can produce a whole bunch of boof. Boof, in my opinion, is just average ass shit that
boof.
You know what I mean? Doesn't really need to be, in a large scale.
Right.
We don't need that much boof. We need good, high quality cannabis. But there's a ton, an excess of this boof product that has brought the prices down. And, there's prices on the wholesale market going 400 or less, on some of the pounds. And it's like, what the hell? Like, how is an indoor facility that produces really good quality cannabis or whatever it is compete with that? Because a lot of the market has gone towards concentrates, distillate.
Hash.
And that's where these dispensaries that are buying on the wholesale market are going after that cheap product to be able to make and process it to be able to make as much distillate and whatever else, and then add their fake terpenes and then all this fake flavors to it to be able to
synthetics and all that.
And that's where they can sell these cartridges and get these people in the door for 2 for $1 and buy BOGOs and blah blah blah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be hard for cannabis companies. It'll have to be these niche companies, like you're saying, a really awesome craft cannabis. Small scale, in my opinion, that's going to survive. These bigger guys how are they going to pay the bills if the price keeps coming down?
But the thing about it is cannabis on the back end, if you know the numbers and you've ran it on a business side, the margins are there. You don't have to. In some cases, there's a lot of people who are pricing products high because it just simply can't. Yeah. I'm not talking about a market like Washington or Oregon in any sense of the word, but
right. $20 quarters.
Yeah, nobody wants a $20 quarter. I mean, I would question a $20 quarter first. I wouldn't knock it, but that is where we're headed towards, where it's like as markets start maturing and start popping, Arizona's just unique, and it's made by design to be unique. We follow the pharmaceutical rule. We can't have more dispensaries than the number of pharmacies. So there's a percentage, there's a ratio. And that prevents there from being a saturated market.
Well, not really, because each one of these licenses can make a contract deal with however many companies they want. And that's why since 207 came into play, we've seen a flood of new brands into the market because they're just making contract after contract after contract.
Oh, so that's how you're telling me I was able to get all these Alien Lab and Connected when they came out.
Hell yeah, they just make deals.
I love those brands, by the way.
So each company that has a license out here, they basically can put as many companies as they want underneath their umbrella and make as many contracts as they want with as many edible companies, as many distillate, many freaking or whatever it is, concentrate. And they're all, a lot of them are in the same building. Mm-hmm. All these companies are side by side making their products, and they're using the same product to make it. You know what I mean? The same flour, because they're under that same license.
Right, but that's a D8 card where you're working under certain people.
No, I mean, but they still have their own business,
right?
Their own contract.
They're fracturing them out, so it's a vertical.
So, I mean, they don't have the license, but they're leasing the license.
That's exactly right.
But that's where there's still a flood of those new brands coming into play, leasing licenses. Like all these California companies came in, like you just said, Alien, Connected, all these. There's probably 100 more in the last year that I've never even heard of before. Yeah.
One thing I will say, I'm really glad that they have there is something to be said about competition, right? Now, Connected and Alien Labs, they're massive. They come out of the Bay. Everybody knows their story. Yeah. And I like to see that in the market because it's like, you know what? If you're in this game, you got to step it up. And it did have to raise the competition in the quality. And I did see a big change where there was certain brands, not all, but there was also a big drop in quality as well when we went rec. But
that's why I said these bigger companies, went large. I mean, every company went large.
Right.
And that was the wrong business model to do because everybody can't go and double because then there's a saturation in product into the market to where that's what we're seeing right now. And that's I've heard a lot of the different, cultivation, owners and contracted, cultivations that are saying that there's so much product right now in the market, they're having problems getting rid of everything.
Yeah.
And their prices are dropping big time.
Then why am I still paying $200 for an ounce?
That's because these license holders want every single dollar they can get. So they don't care if these companies are struggling because there's another company right behind them ready to fill the spot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if they fail or not, there's another company ready to fill it.
Yeah.
So they'll make money. And that's why they can raise the prices. I mean, there's only, like you said, a certain amount of dispensaries that are open, so those prices can be whatever they want them to be.
Yeah,
and then they can run
set.
the daily deal of half off of that on a Tuesday. The next day you're paying $70. The next day you might be paying $35 for the same shit. You know what I mean? So that's how they.
If you didn't come in on Wednesday, come in on Thursday because we'll give you that same discount.
That's what I'm saying. We'll fucking do it every day. You know what I mean? Shit.
Damn. You know, I do see some deals where I'm just like, how? Like, how? Because some of the margins just don't make sense. But the influx of product, I always question.
Well, they have to get rid of if they have an excess of product, they have to get rid of it by a certain day or it goes bad. So that's when they're like, well, shit, we got to
convert it.
10 for 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. They'll convert it. Or I've seen, in some cases where they have to try to get rid of product, the BOGOs come out and things like that. If not, they have to destroy it, sadly. But I mean, to your point, at what point do we say, okay, that cannabis is what we pictured it to be? And it's really not.
It's never going to be that way. It's gone now. Like I said, it's been hijacked to where, big money has it now. And little guys don't matter anymore.
No, I don't believe that.
I really
don't.
And it really is, because think about how many family-owned dispensary licenses are there in Arizona?
I could say probably less than 5%.
So that right there shows you.
Right.
It's been hijacked and it's been taken over by big money. So that
okay, but guess who I would. But see, the loyalty that I have to those dispensaries get my money. Because where I shop matters, right?
It does. Not to everybody, though.
Well, no. But I care about, do you ever wonder, though, some of the, long-term effects of some of the things that we've been seeing? A lot of people are starting to have volatile reactions and high vomiting. There are some other people that are starting to get really bad migraines and headaches. We had vape escape, or what was it called? Vape gate.
Yeah.
That
think
shit
about, that's
came
what
out.
I'm saying. So that's where, all these new products that they put out, cannabis products that were made with hydrocarbons and things like that.
Yeah.
They didn't know the effects of these things that were going to happen.
Well, no, BHOs.
Now we're starting to see those things. People that are using, okay, so distillate can be, 70 to 99% pure, THC. You know what I'm saying? So these people are freaking hitting that high concentrated cannabis every single hit off of a pen or whatever it is.
It fucks up my tolerance. That's why I try to stay away from
it. That's what I'm saying. Cannabis is not the way it used to be, to where you could roll a joint or smoke a bowl or smoke a bong and you're good, a few bongs, whatever it is. And that's...
The average joint had 10% THC in it prior to 1980s.
And everybody could, you're good. And then now it's all this freaking high, high percentage THC.
Well, the
it's
average
all about
joint
that.
now is 17+%.
So it's not, that's why I say it's gone now. It's not where it used to be, that unless it's in the homegrown community scene. You know what I'm saying? You still feel that vibe there. You know what I mean? Because people still are passionate and they care about, what they're doing, and they care about where their money goes. They care about the culture behind it and where cannabis came from.
You know what I really want to see is okay, if this is where we're at, I want to be more solutions oriented, right? So
that's where discussions like this happen. We need discussions like this to be able to raise awareness,
right?
Be able to get anywhere.
Well, right. So it's kind of okay, we've seen what's happened medicinally, recreationally, social equity wise, and we're in this chaotic swirl, right? I feel like it's chaotic because a lot of people don't have answers. People paid a ton of money. I know I shelled out a couple $1,000, and there was no resolution. There was no, I want to ask, okay, great. For those people who did get those 23 licenses, or whoever got those licenses, how are you working with the community? If you need any brands or any other contacts or people, where's that bridging that gap? How are you now stepping up to help the community and open up those opportunities to other people who can help you? Because I've been in the game and I've seen the deals that have happened, how, to your point, leasing, right? Leasing is a very, very popular option in Arizona. It happens in a very interesting way because it's vertically integrated here. It's not vertically integrated everywhere else, right? So the people that you bring on is going to be really important to your team, how you're getting it going. But it's like, it comes back down to money, right? And everybody thinks I have to make this partnership with this really big brand to be able to get in. And that's not necessarily the truth.
You know, you're right about that. And that's where they can get screwed because, all right, so within the last year, there was multiple groups that we talked to that literally when True Leaf came in and they took over Harvest.
Oh, right, when they had that deal.
They came in and they literally put out all sorts of cease and desist letters so that they couldn't do all sorts of different shit at that point. Like, so then all of a sudden ownership changes hands.
Yeah.
And they thought they had a good deal at whatever point, but as soon as that changes hands to a new person, new owner, new ownership, everything's different.
So all of Harvest, all of people who were working with Harvest and had leases. Basically,
yes, everybody. So I've talked to at least 5 different companies that were underneath Harvest licenses that as soon as True Leaf came in, they weren't allowed to do certain things. They weren't allowed to go or do any kind of events, no shows. We had multiple cancellations that they couldn't be part of our show because they didn't have permission.
What?
Yes, they had to have 60-day written permission to do anything. So they weren't able to do Earl
60
Cups.
days.
They weren't able to do all sorts of stuff. Right when that happened, there was like right before Earl Cups. So they weren't allowed, multiple companies weren't allowed to be in it and involved because they couldn't get permission, basically.
Right in time.
So then, even some of our events that we threw, Weed Mania, we had multiple companies say they couldn't participate because they weren't allowed to without, their permission, basically. One of them was already set. Literally
That's
set and ready to go. And literally the day of, they had to back out because they got threatened with a lawsuit that they would lose their license if they came on the Weed Mania.
Damn.
I was like, holy shit. Like, are you kidding me right now? And they literally, that day, they had to disqualify their company from the competition because they got, threatened that they were going to get sued and lose their license.
That sucks.
That sucks. That's why you have to be careful with making these deals. I mean, it might seem pretty, but and that's where you can't get a deal unless, if you have your own money, which is, far and few. Most people don't have the money to do it themselves. So then that's where investors come into play, more hands in the pocket, So by the time you get anywhere, you're in debt big time.
Well, right. But the strategy for these social equity licenses is unique. And you should be reaching out to people who understand the dynamic of what these businesses are. And I invite you to do that. I have a lot of resources. I have a ton of friends on the West Coast who have done work for big social equity movements out in California, out in Chicago, out in New York, where there are resources and there are tools for you guys, for whoever won these licenses. So this message is literally going out to you guys because there isn't necessarily only one avenue, and it's not necessarily that you need all this money. And I invite you to really reach out, if not to me, Vaca, the show, whoever. And then that way you can really try to hear different strategies because there is different strategies. There's different models that you can do.
Well, see, that's good to hear, because nobody's really trying to do that here in Arizona.
No.
Not trying to fight for the little guys, you know what I'm saying?
It's been really discouraging, I know I've been trying to... I've been tapped in, our Arizona, we kind of took a break. We took a time out. There was a lot of different things moving. It's been a tumultuous year. But, really what we've always been is just a way to give information, platform, everything social equity. That's what we've always been about. We're about the community. So,
and there's really nobody fighting like you guys were doing, down, at the state capitol.
No, I mean, we tried, man. We tried talking to every legislator you can think of. All the lobbyists up there, they have their own agendas. And it was really hard because everybody politically that is at the Capitol, has their agenda. And our Arizona, what we've been trying to do this entire time is we're not politicians. We're not lobbyists. We're literally grassroots. I care because of weed. And nobody was representing me. So, and I want to talk.
Many grassroots, organizations.
Yeah,
doing
nobody.
Anything. So that's why, when we first found out about our Arizona and what you were doing, we had to connect, because we're grassroots as well. You know what I mean? we started our show with nothing, and we just built it up, to be able to be on a platform where people could listen, educate the community. Because, I started my first show, the AZ Podcast, right before the Stoned Age, to be able to educate the community about what was happening here in our dispensary scene.
Yeah.
I came from the industry. I knew what was happening. They were poisoning our patients and our people. And
Damn,
that wasn't being talked about, you know what I mean? And I was like, I need to, voice my opinion out here and tell people what's happening. I left the industry because of that. I'm like, if you think you're getting safe meds, and safe cannabis, you're not. You know what I mean? And this is why you need.
And I can't even imagine how hard that was, because nobody
was doing it. You know what I'm saying? We were the first cannabis show here. You know what I mean? Talking about these kind of things, and it's. I'm glad that I made it happen. You know what I'm saying? We were able to. We just made it happen. One day we were just like, let's do this, and we did it.
Right.
And then from that we saw like how much attention it really got. And people were, wanting to know more and paying attention.
Yeah,
like,
because people want to know what's
live.
going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
People want to know, like, why am I, like, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like, younger generations, we definitely do care. Like, where my money goes and who am I putting it, where am I investing it into? So when you look at all these, like, business deals and how cannabis is being run, and, like, a lot of people are feeling defeated. A lot of people are feeling like they got jacked, $10,000 is not any kind of chump change.
Right.
And that's what some people paid, plus lawyer fees and stuff like that, And then
you don't get any of that back.
No, we haven't got anything back. I haven't got anything back. But at this point, they did say that there's some type of lawsuit that's going around again. It's just been one of those movements where, we're trying to find out as much as we can, see what has happened, and we haven't heard much. Nobody's talking about it.
You just brought up something, lawsuits. I never even thought about this until years ago, but when I first found out, from a guy that was in the industry, a dispensary owner, he's like, you have no idea how many lawsuits are in the cannabis industry. Just here in Arizona, like they're all just suing each other and, trying to win licensing, take a license, this, that, and the other. It's all about money. And that's where, cannabis has went wrong, when it's all about the money. You know what I'm saying? And they all want power and money.
Well, it's like an NDA. NDA doesn't mean shit unless you have the money to enforce it.
Right.
So
that's how I got screwed, because, I had certain contracts, but the people that I had the contracts with, they had a ton of money. And literally my lawyer would tell me, he's like, they'll just drown you in legal fees. You're never going to make it. So it's like, well, how the hell is any small person supposed to make it?
Because there's resources out there,
and that's where we.
And
need
then
to talk
that
about
it also goes back to
people
like,
think there's not. I don't think I don't know what resources. So that's where these. You need to reach out to Nydia over here. She has people that have done certain things to be able to help people, and I think that's important.
We had an outpour of, like, when social equity was happening. There was just a lot going on, and our group, we were just trying to figure out, okay, how do we move? But there was a lot of interest with friends from other communities and social equity groups who helped. My friend Kirsten out in LA. I had another friend, out in San Francisco. I have just friends out in Colorado who helped out too. And everyone's like, how can we help you? What resources do you need? Because it's not just about them going through the process. It's what happens after. Yeah. Because once those deals dry, what does that look like? And where's the accountability? So, Illinois is still fighting.
I mean, how do we protect the people that really, like you said, those three people that got the license that were, part of that 26 social equity licenses here, the three people that were regular people.
Right.
Like, how do we protect them to be able to not get taken advantage of? That's the thing, because
I would say
if they don't have the money to do it themselves, obviously they got to take investors in this, and they're going to be meeting all these people that are coming into play. Like, how do we protect them from not getting taken advantage of, and being able to actually give them the true social equity and, let them be able to prosper from it?
Well, I think they really need to be very realistic in the sense of they have to have, at least in my personal opinion, at least anywhere from about 250,000 to about 500,000, and you could get up and running.
Something small,
something absolutely small, but
you want to scale up. That's the
right.
thing in cannabis. You want to start small and scale up when you can. You don't want to start big and then
right. But having that budget, right, you need to have runway for the first year. But the only way that you're going to do it is you're never going to have product in time to harvest. And this is information and things that you know from people who've been in the industry. You're a grower. I mean, I'm not a grower, but I've worked with them in the lab and in the grows, and I've seen how long it takes from, seed to sale. Yeah, how long that takes. And there's other strategies and tactics that you can do to get your retail store up and running. You don't have to take bad deals, is pretty much what I'm hoping that you can take from this, if anything. Because I'm really worried about, one of the biggest things we warned people about was the deals that were coming through, right? What are you going to do now that we know that there was over, 60 some plus % of the licenses were in connection to an existing marijuana operation, right?
Yep.
Now, those 23 licenses, which of those people are in a position right now where, let's say that dispensary group, owner, group of investors, whatever, but I'm specifically talking about the dispensary existing operators. You are already in the industry. Are you now forcing some of these people to sell out? Are you fully helping them run the operation? Like, what does that look like? Because are you
giving them a chance to run the business? Like
right.
you're saying, or are they just taking full control and here, follow my lead? We'll just give you.
But
a
it's
check
mind blowing. Like,
while.
should a dispensary even really be on a social equity license?
Not at all. That is wrong. They already have they already have a license.
Right.
Let somebody else have one.
So that's the question. Like, it's like, why are we even sitting here? Like, I'm mind blown when I go back and I think about it, and I'm just like, 23 of those licenses are in some type of relationship with somebody already operating in the industry.
And it's not just one of those companies with one license. It's like Mojave with 6 of those social equity licenses or more. And then there's another company with 6 to 9 associations. It's like, how the hell is that even possible?
Right. Copper State is in there, and Copper State, they're not so much in operation with their stores anymore, but they're absolutely still in the game.
Well, that just shows you how much pull they have in the political scene to be able to secure these licenses somehow.
Right.
If you'd be lucky in a lottery, system to be able to get one.
Right.
And they're getting 9 or 6 and this, and you're like, that's not possible.
Well, statistically, they improve their odds by having multiple applications. But we go back to, we warned, we raised hell, we went to all the right channels, we knocked on all the doors for the representatives, and they knew what happened. At one point in time, we were even trying to figure out, like, what other data do you need to see that it is not right for 23 of these 23 out of the 26 licenses to ever be in the possession of someone who is already operating in a dispensary setting in the state of Arizona. Because what are you going to do now? You own a social equity license? That's abhorrent. If anything, I would encourage them, do something with it. Give it to them.
Right.
Full on out. If you're really
fund
here,
them.
Or fund them. Maybe not give it to them, but hey, you know what?
Loan them the money or something until they can get up and running.
I don't believe in loans because that's just in the nature of the industry.
Work with them on it somehow.
Yes, but I think if you truly are standing by what the cannabis industry is and wronging those or making those wrongs right, you should help these individuals, and you should not be on that paper. You should not own a social equity license whatsoever.
I agree.
But if anything, back it up. Show that you can help someone who was treated by the system and saw injustice, and then you can go back and change that person's life around, help them get a business up and running, make it successful, and guess what? Now you have a social equity dispensary that can amplify that to the community. So we go back full circle.
And how many, if it was truly like that, the community would actually want to support that even more. And that dispensary would probably be pretty successful.
Yeah.
Because I'd want to support a community-based social equity.
Who reached out to us a lot?
Who's that?
Cookies. Cookies reached out to us. They knew that we were doing some efforts with social equity in Arizona, and they actually offered tools. They gave out, some type of training programs and things like that, and we were thankful for it. And they told us that they were with us in the fight for social equity. So I welcome that discussion. You know, I spoke to a few of the team members there. I know me, Gus, we did. And I challenged them to that. Like, if, you know, I know Berner has a lot of things that he does with the community out in California. He has that institute that they have out in Mendocino where they're really bridging that gap. Well, I heard a rumor that Cookies is supposed to be on Tempe, that there's a dispensary supposed to be up and running there. Yep. And if that's true, one, that's crazy epic, because right. Tempe, if you know Tempe, they don't like weed, and they don't like a lot of outside businesses, especially with weed. But I think it's one that says something. And two, Berner knows the industry. He knows where you came from. Yeah. And if there is this deal, and it is a real social equity license that is popping up on Tempe on Mill, then I challenge him to do something right for the community.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, help that dispensary be the one in Arizona to do it, because I don't know anybody else. So, I mean, if that is true,
they have the power to do that too. I mean, Cookies is obviously a global brand, so they have the means to be able to really do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Make it truly what it should be.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know where that goes, but the licenses right now are kind of on hold from what we know, and we haven't heard anything else.
You think that's because of lawsuits?
I think so. I think there's still, from what we've heard,
there's probably a lot of lawsuits going on, and that's what the only conclusion I can come to of why it's taking so long as well is, you know, there's so many people suing each other to try to, you know, win those licenses or take it, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah, but we go back to the way that it was set up. It was set up to fail, and it was set up to not help the community in any which way. So we go back to, you have these licenses, this is where we're at. And there's a bigger issue is, you know, the price of weed isn't going to get better.
Right.
No. And you're going to have the same issue. I mean, Curaleaf literally just closed a bunch of stores.
Yeah, they closed all their operations like we were talking about in California, Oregon, Colorado.
Mm-hmm. Major markets,
scale back
too.
And focus more on markets that are like Arizona, that are successful markets, and they're
right.
going to really, you know, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be interesting to see, right?
It's going to be Survival of Weed Mania Part 2. You got to see it later.
Right. No,
but
there's going to be a lot of companies, you know, and then I'd say within the near future, you know, 2 to 5 years, it's going to be a lot different. It's going to be a lot of changes happening. There's going to be a lot of companies falling off.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of different things happening with cannabis, and it's going to be interesting. You know, every year it's going to be a different world, right?
Well, right. You have different markets popping up. You know, New Mexico right now is a really interesting market. I've been spending some time out that way. It's going to be really fascinating to see what happens there, because their model is very different than that of Arizona. But it's not hard. You're not selling hard things. Weed isn't hard to sell. You just have to have good product and a good brand at a good price. And you do that, I mean, you will build loyalty. People will keep coming back for your product, you know?
Well, you know, I think it's important for these companies to really show face, you know, be out there in the community with, you know, doing different things. Let the community see you, you know, out there. You know, there's so many brands that I don't see supporting any kind of community kind of stuff, even if it's just a farmer's market, being out there, right. You know, showing face, passing out flyers or stickers or this or that. You know, they need to really, and do more for schools. You know what I mean? Because Prop 207, there's nothing written in there for elementary schools, but that doesn't mean they don't have to. They can donate money to elementary schools because
right.
It's all like, you know, from
K-12.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So we need to give back to younger generations with this cannabis money too, and really contribute back onto education. You know what I mean? And really educate them on certain subjects. Maybe it's, I don't know what it could be, but they definitely need to focus on more of the younger generation with this money as well.
Or just see where that money's going to go, because this last year we're going to pass. I think they were saying they're estimating to be cannabis like 1 point some billion here in Arizona.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean, you know, it's you know,
we'll put the money to work, right? Yeah. So if you're getting all that money, they can improve it. But props, I think that's the problem with them. They're so hard to change the facility of it, but that doesn't change the responsibility of, okay, how are you using that money to go back into the community? That's really what it comes back down to. So, on a lighter note, though, Super Bowl, who are you going for?
I'm not really a sports person myself, so I just want a good game. I don't watch sports. I don't really care. You know what I mean? If I do watch this, I'll watch the Super Bowl just to see a good game and all the different shit that's happening. But I'm excited that it's in Arizona and that it's bringing a lot of business. You know, it's going to be good for business here in Arizona. You know what I mean? A lot of people coming into the state, bringing money and spending it. You know what I mean? And that's where, you know, a lot of people are trying to, you know, target these people that are coming in with different events.
I know. I heard about some cannabis events.
There's all sorts of cannabis events and all sorts of celebrities that are going to be here. So it's a time that is going to bring, you know, a lot of money to Arizona, and I think that's good. Yeah,
I'm hoping to see it shine. It's going to be really interesting. I live downtown, so it's going to be a shit show, I'm sure. But I'm excited to see.
Oh, it's going to be crazy downtown.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I mean, across the whole, you know, across Phoenix, Glendale, Scottsdale, there's so many events happening. I'm like, how is anybody even going to go? Which one do you pick? Right?
Or how the hell are you going to get there is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Dude, I just saw yesterday on the hotel prices right now, like to get a Best Western or Motel 6, just to get one room. Yeah. $1,000.
Are you kidding me?
$1,000.
Oh my God!
That Motel 6 in the hood.
I need to adjust my Airbnb prices. I'll be right back.
Seriously, you do. I'm telling you, if they're for a crappy Motel 6 in the hood for $1,000 a room, and they're pretty much sold out. So I'm like, that's crazy, you know. So people that can rent out their houses here in Arizona, more power to you. You know, if you can make that money, because I know some people are doing $10,000-$20,000 and shit.
What? To rent it out
for like the week? I'm like, that's crazy.
Damn.
And they're getting it too. So I mean, you know, it's not even like the biggest houses or nothing like that. Just, you know, proximity, I guess. You know, being close to the venue and all that kind of stuff.
Well, look, high traffic areas downtown. Well, there's like a big party downtown, and then anything near Westgate is gold.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy. But think about just the minimum. I heard minimum ticket price $50,000.
For the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Damn. I need to find myself a sugar mama like yesterday so I could go.
So, you know, it's all, like I said, big money's going to be here. So I'm excited for the Super Bowl only because of that. I'm not a sports fan, like I said. So whoever gets to hold the trophy up is, you know, they deserve it, I guess, right?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
But, you know, I'm glad to reconnect with you and to really talk about these, you know, serious subjects that need to be, you know, we need to raise this awareness on this and get more people discussing this and talking about it, because where are these social equity licenses? What's happening with them? When are we going to see somebody benefiting, like, truly, you know, from this social equity program? Right. When are the people like Nydia here that put money into it, are they going to get any money back, you know, from, you know, putting in the application fees and doing all this stuff? Because I thought you were supposed to get a refund on certain things, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
You know, they were saying in the beginning there were no refunds, and then they kind of just went, they didn't say anything about it. So I don't know.
So that's a lot of money. You know, it's a lot of money.
Just in fees alone. I mean, the amount of people, there was like 1,506 applications. Multiply that times $4,000.
Woo, all right. So, yeah, we need to know where this money is. And, you know, if these people, like most of the people that are trying for the social equity license are, you know, people that don't have the money to be able to do this. You know what I mean? Right. They were affected by certain things in this cannabis war. So, I mean, we need to be able to at least get that money back to the people that didn't win. Yeah,
if anybody knows of anyone that's working on refunds or knows of a process to do that, you can reach out to the Our Arizona page and just let us know. That way we can kind of get something going.
Yeah, I know you said you guys kind of took a break a little while. We did here in the Stone Age as well. You know, we've focused here, like I said. I mean, I have my 2 stores here now in North Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, we have Little Shop of Hydros and we have Dina Pierce CBD. We've been open for about 10 months now. So my focus has been there. So anybody in the cannabis community, if you've been wondering where the Stone Age has been, that's what we've been doing. We've been hustling. We've been working hard to be able to support you, the cannabis community, showing you how to grow your own cannabis at home. So come through. We have lots of classes. Yeah. We just had a grow your own beginner's cannabis class last week. We just had a mushroom cultivation class yesterday, yoga class today. Oh,
the yoga in the park.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to be doing medicated yoga pretty soon. Ooh, so the cannabis community needs to come out and support here in the North Phoenix area. There's really nothing happening in North Phoenix cannabis-wise.
This is a dope spot. Like, there's so many. You got the mountains right around.
That's what I'm saying. You can, come hike North Mountain.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. Phoenix Mountain Preserve is right around the corner, too.
It's all right here. So, I mean, we're proud to be right here. I grew up right here in the Sunny Slope neighborhood. And I'm proud to have my stores right here. So,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm glad we connected again. You know, it's
I
been a long
appreciate your
time.
time.
You know, and I wish you. You know, I know you're doing a lot of different things in the industry, and you're looking for outlets. So I wish you, you know, success on whatever you do on that. So I mean, I'm glad to see that you're still part of this whole our Arizona thing, because we need people like you, Nydia. You know, you've done a lot for our community here. And, you know, I think it's, you know, you need to be commended. You know what I'm saying?
Gus, too. Don't forget about Gus.
You know, the whole group. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? All you
Gus.
guys, you know, you're really fighting for the community, and I think that's beautiful. You know, there's not a lot of people doing that. So thank you for doing that for, you know, the little guys.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
For out there, because, you know, we need it. You know, so.
We're just trying to really bridge the gap at this point. You know, it's about solutions, right? Like, we already know that things are broken and things can get improved and changed drastically. And it's about just bridging the gap with,
for sure,
finding those opportunities, you know, because there's a lot of talented people out there, and the need for that. I think that's where we can bridge the gap.
True that. Where can people reach you again? What was the Instagram?
It's Our Arizona, so it's just OUR_Arizona. You can send a message, and, you know, one of us will be in touch with you.
I like it. So thank you again. You know, this is an important subject that we need to discuss more often. There's other states that are probably going to be doing social equity programs. We need to be able to, you know, show them what it's happening right now here in Arizona, and maybe they can fix it wherever they're at before it's too late, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a group called True Equity. They're on Instagram.
That's right.
And they pretty much work with everyone across the country. So they've really just tried to streamline something where everyone knows what's happening in every state.
And we have an interview with them as well. So I mean, we've talked with them. Nice. Yep, actually, they were. She came to us from you. So
yeah, Anna.
And
Anna is awesome, and her partner. They're great.
And they're, you know, an amazing thing what they're doing across the nation. So it's good to see that there is people out there really supporting the community and wanting to see better and change in the cannabis community and inclusion.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about, and being included. You know, we want the small people to be included as well, and to be able to
and just
benefit.
keep that dialogue going. That's
right.
important.
So, you know, definitely come through. Like I said, Little Shop of Hydros, North Phoenix, Arizona. If you need any kind of growing assistance, reach out to us. We're on 7th Street in Mountain View. LittleShopOfHydros.com. Diner Pier CBD. If you need any kind of CBD wellness.
I'm peeping this massage oil right here.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. That's our newest product, you know. And after this show, I got some bomb-ass headband cookies here that was just harvested by myself. From my boy Ari from Cannabis Reviews. He hooked me up with these cuts, and man, let me tell you, it's some fire. So
that smells
as
really
always,
pink.
I'm Vodka One with the Stoned Age Podcast. Peace.
Thank you.